Hi everyone, my name's David Pazdernik. I'm a BASF seeds agronomist, and today we're at a BASF soybean research trial, and we're going to focus on sudden death syndrome, or SDS, today. Sudden death syndrome is a common fungal disease caused by Fusarium virguliforme. It's a common soil-borne fungus, and first off I'd like to talk about some of the symptoms that you see if you have sudden death syndrome. So the common symptoms, I've got them down here so we can narrow in on this. And first off, the common leaf symptoms, you get the interveinal chlorosis and burning in the leaves, and that's caused by a toxin that the fungus produces, and especially if you get some rainfall, it'll bring the water up and it'll bring that toxin up, and then you get the burning of the leaf tissue here. Now these symptoms can also be other diseases such as brown stem rot and some others. So you need to double check your stems, because on the stem symptoms with sudden death syndrome, normally if you can see in here, the cortex will be kind of a brown here, and then on a uninfected plant it's more of a lighter tan to white color. The pith will remain white, as you can see here in all cases. So brown stem rot, that pith will be brown, but with the case of sudden death syndrome, it remains white. So you need to look at the cortex and see if there's any browning in here. And then lastly, when all the leaves fall off with sudden death syndrome, a lot of times the petioles will continue to hang on the plant like this. So that'll be another symptom for sudden death. So if you see all three of those, there's a very good chance that you do have sudden death. If you want to know for sure if you have sudden death, you can send your samples in and they can tell you. So second, today I'd like to talk about some control practices for sudden death. So sudden death, as I mentioned, is a soil-borne disease. So things like foliar fungicides will not work. There are no foliar applications of anything you can do for sudden death. But you can use good seed treatments. There are a couple of different good seed treatments. Olevo is a very good seed treatment that you can use for sudden death. Second thing you can do is use varieties that are highly tolerant or have good partial resistance. Also choose varieties that have good cyst resistance, because if you tend to have cyst, you also tend to have sudden death, because the sudden death will get into the wounds of the cyst, and then you'll get the sudden death. And then lastly, good control practices. Sudden death likes it kind of wet and cold, so if you have good drainage, make sure you've got good drainage on your fields. And then planting date can also make a difference. The earlier you plant, the more likely you are to get sudden death. So if you have severe sudden death issues in certain fields, plant those last. Make sure you've got them well drained. Use a partially resistant variety, and you could use a seed treatment. Thank you.